Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Firsta and my partner Rahma Azahra. We will talk about theories of truth and philosophy.
So, truth is something that is accordance with the state of the object or objective, and real has a reality and is part of a natural phenomenon. The criteria of truth tend to emphasize on those that satisfies humans, which can be proven by experimentation and that help in the struggle of biological life. It can be taken into account that the truth is the occurrences of faithful and firm conformity from consideration and idea to the fact of experience or to natural phenomenon as they are, because the truth has a nature that is not absolute and not lasting but is relative, temporary, and transcendent. Types of theories of truth in philosophy, we have three types: correspondence theory, coherence theory, and pragmatic theory. So, correspondence theory, perhaps the most important of neoclassical theories for the contemporary literature, is the correspondence theory. Ideas that sound strangely like a correspondence theory are not that very old. They might well be found in Aristotle or Aquinas theory. The way the correspondence theory actually emerged will provide some valuable reference points for the contemporary debate. Proportion, a sentimental object of belief, is true if it corresponds um, to features of the actual objective world as it is in itself. So, truth is property of statements about reality or ideas about reality. This theory of truth connects most directly with the idea that there actually is an objective world as it is in itself, or metaphysical realism, and that we can therefore know it. For example, salt is salty and sugar is sweet. Because this belief can be considered true as far as your sensation of the taste of sugar is sweet corresponds to condition in outside world. And the next slide, we give it to Firsta.
So, coherence theory. So, initially, the correspondence theory was seen by its developers as a competitor to the identity theory of truth. It was also understood as opposed to the coherence theory of truth. Like the correspondence theory, it was important in the early 20th century British origins of analytic philosophy. Particularly, the coherence theory of truth is associated with the British idealists to whom Moore and Russell were reacting. The coherence theory of truth enjoys two sorts of motivation. One is primarily epistemological. Most coherence theories also hold a coherence theory of knowledge, more specifically, a coherence theory of justification. According to this theory, to be justified is to be part of a coherent system of beliefs. An argument for this is often based on the claim that only another belief could stand in a justification relation to a belief, allowing nothing but properties of systems of belief, including coherence, to be conditioned for justification. Combining this with the thesis that a fully justified belief is true forms an argument for the coherence theory of truth. The truth of any true proposition of or belief consists in its coherence with some specified set of proposition or belief. This theory of truth connects most directly with the idea that reality is fundamentally mental or metaphysical or subjective idealism. If there is an objective world as it is in itself, we can really know it. We can only know our mental representation of it. Under this theory, truth is seen as a mental content to mental content relation. For the example, mathematics system and human is mortal creature. These beliefs cohere with one another's. We can really know how math system created, but the ideas of math existence coheres with what we know now. The next is pragmatic theory. A different perspective of truth on truth was offered by the American pragmatists. As with the neoclassical correspondence and coherence theories, the pragmatist theories go with some typical slogans. For example, Peirce is usually understood as holding the view that truth is the end of inquiry. Thus, Peirce and James are associated with the slogan that truth is satisfactory to believe. Peirce's slogans tell us that true belief will remain settled at the end of prolonged inquiry. Perhaps most typically associated with pragmatist views of truth, so we might take it to be our canonical neoclassical theory. However, the contemporary literature does not seem to have firmly settled upon a received neoclassical pragmatist theory. Heck, 1976, notes that the pragmatist views on truth also make room for the idea that truth involves a kind of correspondence, insofar as the scientific method of inquiry is answerable to some independent world. This marks an, an important difference between the pragmatist theory and the coherence theory we just considered. Even so, pragmatist theories also have an affinity with coherence theories, insofar as we expect the end of inquiry to be a coherent system of belief. As Heck also notes, James maintains as an important verificationist idea, truth is what is verifiable. A proposition is true if the belief in that proposition is pragmatic or useful in a certain way. This theory takes the individual subjective life into account. A proposition or belief is true if it allows you to interact effectively and efficiently with the universe and if it works. So the example is technological development. This belief will, will pragmatically guide people's action in their life, and the development of technology has so many practical values in people's lives. Conclusion: truth is the aim of belief. Falsity is a fault. People need the truth about the world in order to thrive. Truth is judgment, proposition, or idea that is true or accepted as true. So this is all from us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.